way. We just got to.
So today we are going to be talking about homelessness and the epidemic that it is in the United States. We're going to start off with a personal story of Jesse. Soft White Underbelly is a channel on YouTube that covers diverse issues experienced in humanity. The owner of the channel conducts interviews with different people, specifically people on Skid Row. Jesse grew up in a mentally, physically, and emotionally abusive home. The day after his 14th birthday, he was put into foster care because his father abused his brother so badly that they had to be hospitalized. He recalls his mother telling him that she wishes she had never had him, and he says this was the moment he began to feel completely out of control of his life. He says that his substance abuse issues started in 8th grade, and he wished his parents would have done something to stop him or realize what exactly was going on. He thought that foster care would be a refuge, but it ended up being a different side of the same coin, and he ended up experiencing just as much physical and mental abuse as he did in the home he was in the 14 years prior. He left the foster care system at 17 and decided to try and figure out life on his own. But he states he wishes he could have a second chance at life, although many believe he didn't even have a first chance. I am Autumn Valine. I'm a business management major. I have not only experienced homelessness as a child, but also as an adult, although not to the point of living on the streets. I believe homelessness is something that we should all be actively searching for solutions to. We have all seen the cause of inflation, whether in your own home or to a close friend. The gap between pay and the cost of living is outrageous. Today we will be discussing the epidemic of homelessness in our country. The United States is supposed to be a wonderful place to live. However, there is a severe housing crisis taking place right in front of us, with veterans and abused youth being more prone to it. Secondly, we will discuss what is being done to solve this crisis. Madison Farmer will be discussing local charity Gateway to Hope. Madison Largen will be telling us about Family Promise. Rebecca Georgios will be discussing Covenant House. And Evelyn Sanchez will tell us about Habitat for Humanity. Let's explore the history of homelessness. When did it become a crisis? It's hard to find exact information on when homelessness became such a chronic issue in the United States, but most resources pointed to the late 1840s, specifically in Places Journal. Individuals were able to find temporary shelter in penitentiaries or police stations. That was soon changed, and homeless people began setting up camps in train stations or near busy roads. These camps were often called jungles. Many of these men joined the military for World War II, World War I, as a way to have consistent shelter and full bellies. Many others seem to believe that chronic homelessness began in 1980 with Reagan's Revolution. By the late 90s, homeless camps were becoming more visible and more populated, and there was nowhere for these people to hide anymore, as their camps were continuously torn down by law enforcement. So homelessness is not a new problem, it is just a more visible problem. In point 2, we will discuss the current issues of homelessness. According to End Homelessness, 582,000 people were experiencing homelessness in 2022. 22% were people with chronic illness or disabilities, 6% were veterans, 5% were people under 25 who were considered to be more vulnerable due to their age. According to USICH, the biggest concern is the gap between livable wages and affordable housing. Based on recent studies, one person would have to work 86 hours per week at minimum wage in order to be able to afford a one-bedroom apartment. Currently, USICH is working with city government in order to find and build more affordable housing in order to assist with the housing crisis across the nation. Now that we know what is currently happening for homelessness, let's look at the future. According to the School of Social Policy and Practice, the homelessness population is expected to triple over the next decade if nothing changes. To recap over what has been discussed so far, homelessness does not only have a higher population, but it is becoming more public. Because the camps that have been hidden in the past are being torn down by law enforcement, people have nowhere to go except for the busier streets or near the center of town. There are many nonprofits working to keep up with the demand, but the gap in pay and affordable housing is a very overwhelming task to take on. Up next, Madison Farmer will be telling us about Gateway to Hope, a local nonprofit in Tyler working to decrease the homeless population. Woo!
Yeah.